Hey guys, it's Nolan and Jason here with HVAC Webmasters.
Howdy.
Today's topic is HVAC websites and content still king. You won't rank well if this isn't done.
Right.
So I'll go over what we're going to cover real quick. The map won't show up without a good page of content.
Right.
You can't just do a bullet point or a paragraph typically. If the website has no content or basis, it provides a poor user experience and the map won't show up again.
Correct.
Most people, let me rephrase this. I haven't had anyone not think this in 10 years. And I have talked to thousands of people, thousands of contractors. All contractors think that the map is independent of the website and that the map is the only thing that matters. But the map won't even show up
without the
website. Now it'll show up, but it won't show up well.
Yeah. It can show up in some very narrow use cases. We've seen it occasionally. We one time had a guy who worked for us who was trying to actually convince us as a company to stop doing websites and just work on mapping. Yeah. And he would point to this one example that was successful with just Google Business Profile, although it wasn't called that at the time.
Yeah.
This was still in the Google Plus days, and mapping. But I was like, okay, find me just one more example of that in the country. And he couldn't.
Right.
Because it was a weird fluke, not what usually works.
So it doesn't mean it won't show up at all. It means that it'll do extremely poorly and it'll provide a bad user experience. And nowadays, in the last umpteen years, we really haven't seen them populate without
this was years ago that we could even occasionally see.
It's 2022, about to be 2023.
Yeah.
And we just had the Google Good Content update, which was the largest algorithmic change. And just to be clear, it was about content.
All about content
and the quality and type of content. So Google literally doesn't know what you do for a living without content. So
without you telling them.
They know
and that's how you tell them.
Yeah, HVAC, AC, heating, HVAC repair, AC repair, furnace repair. They might give you those.
Yeah.
Because of your entity is HVAC.
Generally closely associated with those services.
Correct. But they won't guess that you work on a brand or a part or a coil cleaning or a mini split or indoor air quality. I mean, and the list could just... The reason I did this one for HVAC, because we work with contractors. With HVAC, the amount of keywords is mind-blowing. It's just mind-numbingly amount of keywords. I'll give an example because we can dovetail this into like a data pen software. So datapins.com, data or data pens, however you say it. I'll give you a caption that one guy said, or one of them did, which was a Linux air handler replacement with Linux M30 Wi-Fi thermostat. So that caption gets tagged to the AC replacement page, and now Google knows you work on Linux air handlers, and M30 Wi-Fi thermostats and Wi-Fi thermostats.
Right.
So if you didn't have a page, you might be able to show up for some of the stuff on a relevant page if the content had good synergy of category. And so you can't just dump junk on a page as easily and have it show up. But they now spidered Linux air handlers and Linux M30 Wi-Fi thermostats, and now that shows up in ranking for our client.
Right.
In fact, dozens of keywords around that one statement show up in top.
Yeah, there's all kinds of entities that touch that one. If I could go into my entities discussion slide.
Please, yeah.
Because it made me think of it when you just said they might give you air conditioner repair, heating repair, furnace if you're an HVAC company.
Right.
Because those are in the kind of the data graph or knowledge graph they use. Here's HVAC company. And then closely associated AC repair, heating repair, AC installation, furnace. The more esoteric stuff like air quality or a specific thermostat, that might not be associated with HVAC closely, it might instead be associated 2 steps down with AC installation or repair.
Right.
And what you need them to do is you want indoor air quality associated directly with your company. You don't want that association to be 2 steps removed.
Right.
So that's why you declare that you do that. You put content on your website so that all of a sudden it takes that association and moves it up the chain so that you're closely associated with that.
So what that means is, in a different way, is that if you're not actively providing content in a proper manner and have your site structured properly, there is, in our opinion, the vast majority of keywords. Listen, all this is evidenced through Google Analytics, by the way.
Yeah.
Easily through your own Google Analytics. So you will not show up for literally levels of magnitude, like hundreds of % less keywords that you could even show up for because they're not directly associated with your brand through the entity category of businesses that you do. And so another way to look at this is if they only so you have a crappy 5-page website,
Right.
has no content on it to speak of, and the 5 pages were written poorly. Google sees your Google business profile, knows you're an HVAC, AC heating company, and gives you credibility of 5 keywords for it with variations on those 5 keywords, which the client, the HVAC company, thinks that's all they need.
Right.
Because they only care about that and that showing up on the map, which is their...
I'm not number one for AC repair.
Right.
And it's like, well, but you're number one for 100 things that are closely associated.
So you need that 30, 40-page website with service pages, city pages, and then those get embellished regularly. Nolan Walker here for Data Pins. You may not know, but I own a software company, and we have a proprietary software called Data Pins, DATAPINS. You can search it at datapins.com. This is not white labeled. I actually own this piece of software, and I made it for you. It was made for contractors. You can actually take pictures of jobs, up to 6, make a caption about the material, the brand, the situation, the repairs, and post that back to your individual pages on your website, just like that. It's super simple. Anyone could use it. It also texts and emails your clients direct links to your reviews, so it helps reputation and reviews, which helps conversion and map placement. The geo coordinate gets grabbed by Data Pins, and Google can tell where you are. So instead of them just seeing reviews, they see all jobs or even estimates that you do. This vastly outperforms just getting reviews. Helps the map show up, helps organic keywords. And remember, those captions that you're putting in there help expand the keywords per page, and it's great regular content. I love it. We made it just for you. It is organic optimization on steroids for both your website, your rankings, and the map placement. Check out Data Pins. I think you'll be happy you did. And I want to say something else too about, so people start to search this and you say, hey Nolan, how many people search for M30 Wi-Fi thermostat? How many people search for Linux air handler? How many people search for, Goodman coil cleaning or whatever the hell it is?
Yeah.
The answer is 50% of all search is what you would consider bullshit search.
Yeah,
or
what's sometimes referred to as zero-click search. Or
zero-click, low search volume.
Low search volume.
Long-tail keywords, yeah.
And zero-click doesn't actually mean zero-click. It just means a number low enough that Google doesn't bother with it, doesn't bother reporting it. And what that means is it's a number low enough that they can't monetize it for ads. It doesn't mean nobody's looking for it.
Right.
It means that they can't get enough ad revenue out of it for them to bother.
So they don't have keyword analytics on it, but I'm going to repeat this so people understand it properly. 50% of all stuff that we human beings type in is weird shit. And I'm going to give it weird stuff.
I want that on a t-shirt.
So whatever type of category, but let's talk about HVAC.
Yeah.
So somebody comes out, let me do it a different way. Somebody's got a problem with their Linux M30 Wi-Fi thermostat. They go on to Google, YouTube to try to figure it out. Can't figure it out. Been messing with it, and eventually throws her hands up and types in M30 Wi-Fi thermostat and repair technician, Dallas, Texas. That's the keyword term. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it got a sale, and you're the only one optimized for it. And a lot of people type this sort of stuff in. HVAC's my favorite category for content because of brands and parts.
Yeah, but because of those parts, all those brands, all those various models within a brand.
16 SEER Linux, whatever, or Linux air handler replacement. Somebody gets a bid. It's in digital form, paper form, whatever. They go look at the line item and they Google search the line item to get a secondary bid. That's another way these happen.
Yeah.
And so all this stuff, you can literally compound your keywords into the thousands if you'll get the structuring of the website correct with the categories of services that you do, possibly some city pages, and then tag the technical details of parts and brands per job with something like data pins that'll tag to the individual pages, service pages, and city pages. As it's crawled by Google, it masterfully, in a technical basis, expands the individual categories like AC repair or furnace repair and begins to talk about parts and situations and brands.
Right.
And it's
there may only be one guy in a given week or month even that searches for that thermostat. But if you have thousands of those long tail keywords, then that's hundreds or thousands of people that might search that one.
Yeah, we've got HVAC companies that have thousands of keywords that show up.
Yeah.
Like that one caption for Linux air handler, Linux M30 Wi-Fi thermostat replacement shows up for a dozen keywords in the top 10, much less the other hundreds of things that he's detailed in captions and internal. And this doesn't count primary keywords and all the other content and SEO that we do.
Yeah.
And again, just to repeat all this won't show up in ranking without it. And when Google spiders the Linux Wi-Fi thermostat and somebody searches it, guess what it makes pop up into the map ranking?
Right.
The map shows up. And this is the fallacy.
Which a lot of times on long tail keywords, there's no map.
Right.
But doing this actually can enable the map to happen.
You'll be the only knowledge graph map to show up on the sidebar.
Yeah, you could get number one map. You could get the sidebar.
And the sidebar.
Yeah, we actually do see situations. I see with long tail keywords like this where the mapping 3-pack does not show, but the knowledge graph does for the specific.
They
company.
view them as the authority through that subset of the entity for that keyword.
Right.
And they're the only ones in the market that have it.
Yeah.
And it happens over and over and over and over again with our client base because of proper content integration set up with the website. I'm going to say some other stuff so this drives home properly for people. If you only show up randomly here and there in a minute area of your zip code because of proximity of your category to the IP searchers around there, you're missing the living hell out of almost all your clicks.
Yeah.
If you add then...
that is a sign that your organic effort is broken.
And the company that's never experienced this doesn't know what they don't know what they're missing.
Right.
They can expand that reach on map to the entire metro area that it could show up for through digital hand raises through pins, which data pins will help with reviews, and then that content will string through captions and content within the website, and then as it expands properly, it'll bubble out to the rest of the metro area, which will compound the basic keywords, the primary keywords somebody's getting, as you expand the long tails, which again is half of all search.
Yeah, you get the long tails, and Google recognizes your expertise on those subjects, and that bleeds into the primaries for your category.
Yeah, it's the HVAC owner's job to champion the brand for digital signaling. It's our job to help champion your brand, and we do things that you couldn't possibly do, such as have a different company that owns data pins to help, and those items will help your digital signaling and completely explode the amount of keywords that your brand can show up for through the map and through the organic keywords. And just to blow everybody's mind, organic keywords that click through to the website done properly will get more search volume than the map.
Yeah.
Even though the map will increase. I think people stay there. I feel like their brain just like goes clunk right there, and it's like, wait a minute, did I just hear that you're going to get less map ranking? No, you'll actually get more map ranking, but you'll be shocked at how much organic click-through you'll get through the web page, and I'll explain it with a simple little example here. So let's say that you're getting 100 clicks through the map each month, and 100 through, it's a little more than that on map, but impressions. Yeah. Let's just say people, 100 clicks map, phone call, whatever, and then 100 clicks through the website. Those are where the leads come from. And then you get a ton of content added. Now Google knows you work on these other items. You have the ability to show up in search ranking now that you didn't have before, and you begin to add keywords through data pins and other stuff. As the keywords add, the map goes from 100 to 300, but you have now 1,000, and now you went from 100 to 700 on the organic.
Yeah.
The reason is because the organic has ballooned and expanded like it should have.
Right.
And you've tripled the amount of map that you have show up, but you've gone up by 700% on the organic.
Right.
And it's due to the content inherent within the site.
So few people are actually fully taking part in organic. They don't understand how big it can get.
Right. Hey there, guys. Nolan Walker here for HVAC Webmasters. Glad you're listening to the podcast, but I'd like you to become a client. We're a digital marketing agency that have done this for 12 years. I don't think there's anybody better than us at this point in time. We will help you with your design, your code, your content, showing up as high as we can on Google ranking, your organic ranking, your map ranking, your reputation, your reviews. Our digital marketing agency will help you be the best possible online. We can help you with all of it, even paid. We even have a software company called Data Pens that's proprietary. We made it for you guys. You can take 90 seconds and do a pin on each job. We call them data pins, and it'll grab the geo coordinate where you're located. Looks like a little red pin drop, but to Google it looks like a digital hand raise. This helps them see where you're working. So if someone doesn't give you a review, they've got this with photos of the job that count as unique content and a caption. Let's say it's Linux air handler replacement with Linux M30 Wi-Fi thermostat. This is additional content that's literally going to drop on the individual service and city pages on the website and expand your keyword search ability. It's crazy how cool Data Pens is, combined with the SEO and digital marketing agency services of HVACwebmasters.com. Guys, check us out. We'd love to hear from you. When we say organic, we mean stuff under the map. The map is organically driven. That's another fallacy on this stuff. You think that you have a cheap website and get as many reviews as possible, but it's such a one-sided effort, and the algorithm judges tons of things that it's not enough to get you up in ranking, as evidenced by tons of people in your own market right now that have tons of reviews but are not in Pack-3 mapping, because too many other things are not being done with inside that branded signaling for the company.
Right.
So as you get all that together and content and everything nice and neat, you show up for as much stuff as possible, as high as possible, and then you have a well-rounded digital signaling to Google, which is the essence of proper SEO.
Right.
And people just don't ever do it because they don't end up with somebody like HVAC Webmasters.
And again, we touched on this a minute ago. Part of the reason your organic goes up so much more than mapping is the map is not shown for a lot of keywords, especially long tails.
Right.
There are a ton of keywords people will put in
Yep.
that Google, for whatever reason, decides that the map is not relevant for that, but you can still get the organic placement for it.
Even though 50% of all search is long tail, low search volume, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because of that, and there's nobody to show in the marketplace enough that there's not enough local businesses that have that content inherent within their website. So then they cannot show the map.
Yeah, because they don't have any locations to show,
right?
Because they have nobody that's doing that.
You're the only guy that shows up, and it kind of breaks the map portion of the algorithm, and then your organic shows up number one.
Yeah, you see a lot of these long tail keywords: no ads, no map. The top of the page is the first organic result instead of ads and all that, and then you can get the knowledge graph on the sidebar.
I mean, if an HVAC company utilized our services properly, included data pins, and wanted to show up for every single brand there was in their market, they eventually could do that and show up in the top 3 easily for everything and all the weird stuff that ever gets searched.
Right.
And if they only install 1 or 2 brands, it doesn't matter because they're talking about stuff that's being replaced or worked on. So the HVAC company runs into every single brand in every single situation, and all they have to do is detail what they're taking out and putting in, or the situation that they're dealing with.
Yeah. It's so effective that when Google decides through user intent that person putting in that long, I can't even remember that whole thermostat keyword, that person is looking for local service, they will put a local provider above the national brand site. Like it's a Lennox thermostat, and you could be, in organic results, you could be above Lennox.com.
Yeah, explain, because, guys, the user intent was not to reach the corporate as a supplier of Linux.
Yeah.
But
when you give Google this information, they realize, oh, this person's looking for local service, so we want to show them a local guy first.
I was just curious, but yeah, mission critical comfort out of Kathleen, Georgia, Linux M30. I'm sorry, not even M30. Linux Wi-Fi thermostat repair, Bonaire, GA, which is not even the town they're in, by the way.
Yeah,
it's an adjacent town. They're number one, and underneath them is Linux. And the reason Linux is underneath our client is because the user intent is not to reach a supplier. The reason the supplier shows up in almost all markets is because the local HVAC companies are done so poorly, they can't represent it to the Google user because for fear of them having a bad user experience.
Yeah, Google's looking at everybody available and so, well, this is apparently the only guy in the area that we know does this.
Right.
So we'll give them that guy, and then we'll throw in Linux because that's the other keyword that got used, and we have no other information by which to judge.
At very least, they don't feel comfortable enough.
Right.
When they know that the user intent was for replace, repair, or install,
Right.
They know it wasn't get me a supplier of this. I plan on buying 50 units a month. They know that that wasn't the intent.
Yeah.
But no one made them feel comfortable to show them above the supplier,
Yeah.
because the content inherent within the site was so freaking poorly done or not existent. Again, non-existent mean they don't know you provide the service.
Right.
Therefore, you cannot show up in ranking.
And they will not assume that you provide a service.
Yeah.
You have to tell them.
One of the most frustrating things I ever hear, they still say, well, I'm already up in map ranking. For what? The 5,000 keywords you could be up there for? Well, no, just type in, and I've had people tell me their name, ABC HVAC. I'm like, how does anyone know that, they can't find you? It's like no one knows your brand. You're not
Yeah,
Coca-Cola.
that only works if people already know your company. That's great for returning customers.
Yeah.
And by the way, you do want to be ranked number one for your company name,
yeah.
because you want that entity to be associated with you and to be associated with your service. That's a whole other conversation.
Or they'll have one
But
keyword.
if that's your only keyword is your company name, that's
Yes,
just
well,
that's not
if you
gonna
type in
sustain.
AC repair, emergency AC repair 96779 or something, it's like, yeah, that's not enough. That's why. Well, and the other thing is, if somebody's really up in ranking, why do they call a marketing company? They're not getting any calls,
Yeah.
because it doesn't work well. But they don't understand the nature of how many stinking keywords can show up,
Yeah.
or how and why they show up, and we fully are aware of that and would love to help. Yeah, I guess, if you're interested in great services, we're a great deal. Like and subscribe, please, to our videos, podcasts. And if you got questions about this stuff, we'd be happy to help you with it. And pretty much anybody's website, by the way. People say, well, take a look at my website. And well, why don't you take a look at it and get back with me? I said, you know what? I'm the owner. I've done it for 13 years. I can tell you right now. Right this
What's
second.
wrong with it?
Yeah, well, I don't need to go evaluate stuff. There's, well, tell me about the people in my market. I said, we're not assessing your market. We are the best on the block, and when we come in, we swing a heavy hammer. We'll do all that we can do within our power. It doesn't matter who else is there.
Right.
Fastest horse on the track without cheating will eventually win. That's digital signaling, how much signals come in. And we go through it right on the spot. But if you have a website that's not working, your website is inferior and needs to be fixed, and all these things need to be done.
And generally, we already know what needs to be done.
End of story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you are at a point to where you've listened to this podcast, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Unless your competitor
Unless you just think we're so awesome,
Yeah.
and you like to listen to us. Unless you like to drive down the road listening to Nolan and Jason.
I don't think so. Yeah, they might. I doubt it. Maybe we soothe people to sleep.
Man, I'm tired. I better listen to Nolan.
It's like, need something really boring to put. Just 30 seconds.
Why are they talking
I'm
about
out.
people in gorilla costumes? Oh, that was a different episode.
Yeah. All right, guys. Call us when you're ready. We'd love to help you. Pretty easy to speak around here with us. No pressure, and love to have you as a client answer any questions. We hope to hear from you.
Take it easy.